TMZ is reporting that the car is linked to the popular singer David. The LAPD towed the car from the yard after gathering evidence at the scene. They say the car was reported abandoned in the Hollywood Hills about 5 days ago.
Now I want to talk about this recent story that's gone viral involving David, written d4vd. If you're not familiar with the name, David is a young New York-born, Houston-raised singer who first blew up on TikTok a few years back. He dropped a song called Romantic Homicide, which became a viral sensation and eventually landed him a record deal. Since then, he's carved out a lane for himself, has his own wave going, and is a very successful young man. He's not exactly the biggest mainstream artist, and I'd consider him more on the obscure side of the mainstream, but he has a serious following and is obviously doing very well at the young age of 20 years old. Yesterday, some shocking news broke about him. According to reports, the LAPD found a body inside an impounded Tesla registered to David. So this story has gone beyond viral and it's got a lot of people confused about what's really going on. He's a young mainstream singer who's not known for being violent or, has any kind of prior record or anything like that. And then now his name has been linked to a deceased body. I want to offer some good coverage to you guys on this particular story right here. And by the way, as you guys can see, my apologies for the setup. I'm currently in Berlin doing a little bit of traveling, enjoying myself. And I don't really have my equipment with me, but I do have to prioritize showing up for you no matter the circumstance. So rock out with me on this one, guys, okay? So here's what we know so far. Police say that the car was being held at a tow yard in Los Angeles, Hollywood, at around 12:30 p.m. on Monday. Around 12:30 p.m. on Monday, officers responded to calls about a foul odor coming from that vehicle. Apparently, a bunch of residents in the area had reported a very foul smell coming from a car, which was this car right here. And they didn't really think much of it until it was revealed what was really going inside the car. Now, someone eventually opened up the car and they discovered human remains inside a bag placed in front of the Tesla. It was then revealed that the car itself was registered to a David Burke, which turned out to be popular singer David himself. Now, law enforcement say the vehicle had been at the lot for a couple of days before this particular discovery. This case is already making headlines because of who the car belongs to. I'm sure you can understand why this story is so big on social media right now. Like we stated, David, as far as we know, is a young dude who's making music, stays in his own world, and honestly, I don't know too much about him as a person, but from the very little that I do know, he's just a regular dude who happened to get a hit song, he got signed, and he's been lit ever since, okay? And now people are wondering, did that boy David, catch a body? Is he on some Dexter Morgan, Bay Harbor Butcher type shit? If you know, living a double life. All jokes aside, there's some more info that did come in shortly after, and this is what that intel told us, okay? The LAPD confirmed that the body was found inside a bag in the front trunk of that Tesla, and it was already in a state of decomposition when police made the discovery. At first, nobody knew anything about who it might be, but now officials have revealed that the remains actually belong to a woman. She's been described as about 5'2", weighing just 71 pounds with wavy black hair. She was wearing a tube top, black leggings, a yellow bracelet, and metal stud earrings. And here's a detail that really sticks out. She apparently had a tattoo on her right index finger that literally said, shh. Right now, investigators haven't released her name, and it looks like she had been dead for some time. The coroner is gonna be key in figuring out exactly who she was and how she ended up dying. Police are obviously planning to talk to the registered owner of the car, which is David, and I think they've actually spoken to him already at the time of this video. But as of right now, he hasn't put out a statement, and his team hasn't responded to these reports as well. And just to add to the chaos, on Tuesday, police actually found another body inside a different car in South LA. Now, they're saying there's no evidence that the two cases are connected, but the timing of all this is pretty freaking insane. Now, David himself, right, he's actually still on tour. He was just performing in Minneapolis the other day, and at least on the surface, he's continuing to do his own thing. But aside from the shows and the music, we've actually started to see some real-world consequences hit him almost immediately. So a few days ago, David was literally front and center on the clothing brand Hollister's website, modeling their new collab with Crocs. We're talking hoodies, sweats, Crocs, the whole rollout. His face and name were all over the campaign and on the website. But the second the story about the Tesla broke, gone, okay? Hollister quickly pulled the plug, swapped him out with another model, and just like that, one of these very, I'm assuming, lucrative brand deals that he had just disappeared, right? According to TMZ, the LAPD were actually the ones who had to call David directly and tell him, yo, your Tesla is in impound with a dead body inside. And apparently he told them that he had no clue that any of this was happening. Right now, the reports are saying that he's fully cooperating with the police, which is a great sign. And despite everything, the show is still going on for David. Now, as for the car itself, okay, nobody knows if he loaned it out to somebody or if it might have been stolen. That part of the story is still up in the air. And really quickly, for my international viewers, really quickly, let me explain what I mean when I say that the car was impounded, okay? That just means that the police or the city had it towed away and stored in a secure lot called an impound yard. Cars end up there if they're abandoned, blocking traffic, or tied to an investigation. In this situation, reports say David's Tesla was left on a street in Hollywood, Los Angeles, and then it got towed to the yard. And a couple days later, workers noticed a foul odor, so like a smell coming from the car, right? They checked the car, opened the front trunk, and that's when they found the body. Now, back to the real-world consequences for David. Hollister, the clothing brand, had him front and center on their website just a few days ago. Now, Hollister have not put out a statement, but it doesn't take a genius to connect the dot, right? I mean, these mainstream brands are not in the business of taking risks, and if they're working with David, it's because he gives them access to that young TikTok-driven audience that they're trying to reach, and everything in that space is about quotas, image, and brand and connection. Okay, let's keep that in mind. But let's be clear, just because Hollister pulled him this has nothing to do with his guilt or his innocence, right? That's not how these companies operate, and pulling him from a campaign is strictly about optics, meaning how things actually look on the surface. And brands, they don't care about waiting for the truth, they care about protecting their image and keeping their audience comfortable, okay? Because that's how they survive. So the question right now, though, is what the hell is going on? Now, we want to make sure that we wait for the full story, okay? We simply don't know what we don't know. With that being said, we can always draw our own conclusions based on the information that we have available. So my personal opinion and perspective on the story is this. What I personally think happened here is that his car probably got broken into by somebody, or somebody somehow got access to it and they took it. They stole it. That's what I think. And then somehow they got mixed up in something, which unfortunately led to the young woman dying, and she got put in the trunk of that Tesla. To me, this really looks like one of those cases that doesn't actually have anything to do with David himself. And just so we're clear, I'm not speaking as someone who I don't know David. I just don't know this guy personally, anything like that, right? I can't vouch for his character, and I can't speak against it either. I literally only know 2 of his songs, and I've seen his face around in a few different places. That's about it. So I'm not here to paint him as an angel, and I'm not here to demonize him either. I'm just looking at the situation for what it is, laying out the facts, and giving you my perspective on what I think might have happened here. Now, how the car actually ended up impounded, that's another story. I could not really tell you the details of how that even happened. All we know is what's being reported so far, and that it was left on the street, and then it got towed, and then now we're finding out this news that there was dead body, somebody died. But putting 2 and 2 together, Los Angeles is a shit show. Shout out to LA, but getting your car broken into over there, it's like, what do you say? Like, it's guaranteed. It's like death and taxes guaranteed, okay? The YNs are running amok. People are on some other shit in LA, and that's personally what I think happened. As for the woman, rest in peace to her. I don't know exactly what happened to this poor woman, but the details we do have paint a really tragic picture. She only weighed 71 pounds. That's extremely underweight. Maybe she was homeless. Maybe she had, maybe she was dealing with struggles, addiction, whatever. Not speculating, but you never really know, right? Or maybe she was attacked by whoever put her in that trunk, which to me sounds more believable, right? And honestly, it speaks to a bigger issue. Violence against women is still happening every single day, and it feels like it's only growing in society. That's a whole nother conversation on its own, but honestly, it's really heartbreaking to see that stories like this keep happening over and over to people in general, but especially women, because violence against women is it's growing in the world. If you guys don't know, right? You should know that. I'm wondering if she had any family who might have gotten in touch with law enforcement at this point. Whatever happens there, I'm generally sending my condolences to the family. This is a horrible situation for any loved one to experience, and rest in peace to the young woman, right? I personally don't think David is involved in this particular homicide, and honestly, I just would hope that he's not, since it wouldn't really make any sense. I mean, the young man is doing extremely well. I don't see why he would be, because if he was like a street rapper, which he's not, he's a singer, my alarm bells would be going off, because y'all know street rappers are into the foolishness, okay? But that's not what we have here. In a situation like this, you just don't know what you don't know, and you simply gotta wait for the truth to come out. That's what you got to do. It's the only right thing to do, and the only responsible thing for me to do given the influence of my platform. And I urge all platforms who are reporting on a story to beware of making any accusations against this young man. Okay, I don't think he deserves it in my opinion, because none of us know what the hell is going on. Let law enforcement do their little investigation, because they will get to the truth. And that's one of the things about the police these days, by the way. They be getting to the truth, okay? Especially considering all the available technology. Just like a bank, there's so many ways to get it, and it's made it easy peasy lemon squeezy for them to find out what the hell is going on. Let's hope that this doesn't turn into more than a misunderstanding for David's part, and hopefully this young man wasn't getting into like any foolishness in these streets, because he's 20 years old and he's this successful. He's already done what most people won't do in a lifetime at the age of 20. So it'd be a shame if the latter was the case, right? With that being said, I got a trip to get back to. Berlin is super cool, by the way. If you catch me in these streets, say what's up. But what do you guys think about this David story? The unalive body of a woman was found in a car registered to the popular singer, and social media is going crazy right now. So drop a comment and like for the algorithm, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, man. Tschüss. I think that's how you say it, like goodbye in German. Tschüss? I don't know. Anyway, peace.